Good morning, Reds, and obviously football fans all over the world who are tuning in this morning. This is Forever United TV, and yes, we are talking Ten Hag again, unfortunately. What is going on behind the scenes with Ineos and what decisions are being made? Are they looking for other managers behind Erik Ten Hag's back? They're the reports coming out. I honestly did not want to be even talking about Ten Hag, but the man has opened his mouth again. We're going to talk about that in this video as well, about what Ten Hag has said ahead of the game this weekend against West Ham that has caused outrage amongst most of the Manchester United fan base on social media. Some ridiculous comments we're going to get into there as well. Like I said, I didn't want to be talking about Ten Hag. I made a point last night of putting up the Ahmad video and just doing something completely different. I want to take myself away from the situation, but it keeps on happening. And of course, we do report all of the news here on Forever United TV and what Ten Hag has been saying, what reports are going on behind the scenes with Ineos and this plan to replace Erik Ten Hag. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to get through everything. We're going to have a section where we get to your comments as well and bring up all of your thoughts on everything that's happened. I want to give you your chance to have your say as well. And please do, of course, make sure that you get your comments in if you are not watching live and catching up later on everything that's been said. I'm going to make an effort today to reply to every single comment that comes in after the live show, so make sure you do get commenting below as well. Do go and watch the Ahmad video last night. It did involve Ten Hag and what is happening right now at Manchester United, but it was more on Ahmad and how he's been mistreated at United throughout his career and how Manchester United could have lost another gem. So go check that video out as well. But right now, let's get into what is actually happening with the situation. Well, let's not say behind. It is behind the scenes. Like we shouldn't know as fans what's going on. We try to respect what's happening at the football club. We all have our say, obviously, but we all sit here in hope that Manchester United actually have got competent people running the football club behind. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his Ineos team that came in this summer, we all thought were the exact fit that we wanted. It looked good, it looked great, but obviously going through the decisions that have been made around the managerial situation have caused massive debate amongst the Manchester United fan base. And we know this. We've been talking about it for bloody weeks, haven't we? So let's just talk about what's happening right now, because it's come back again. And this has all come off the back of a poor result against Fenerbahce in midweek in the Europa League. Some would say it's not a poor result away from home. The manager himself, Erik Ten Hag, said it's a good result. I mean, if you had had a couple of other good results before that game, say for instance you beat FC 20 at home like you should have done, then you might have been able to call Fenerbahce a draw away from home a good result. But the season has been poor so far for Manchester United. Results haven't hit the mark, and obviously it is now seen as a bad result. And of course that spreads widespread rumour of possibilities of Ten Hag losing his job again. I think we all understand the situation as it is. He's living game by game right now, and Ineos behind the scenes are reportedly, according to the Daily Mail and Chris Wheeler, are actively looking and talking to several managers behind Erik Ten Hag's back. We're going to go through all of the reports on what's actually been said. The first quote coming out from Chris Wheeler is Manchester United have held secret talks with a number of managers to replace Erik Ten Hag. People who actually say that this is going behind the manager's back, let's just quash that straight away. Going behind the manager's back, the disrespect on the manager, everything that is wrong with Manchester United. These are the comments that I've heard come up on social media on people from the United fan base talking about what's happening right now. I'm sorry, and you all know I've said this before. I don't care if Ineos are looking for another manager behind Erik Ten Hag's back. It's the fact that the media have got a hold of it is the problem, and it's being reported out. There are clearly people at Manchester United that are not happy and are leaking these stories out because Ten Hag is failing at Manchester United. Manchester United's structure above Ten Hag and Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe and him not being happy, and with that, they can't be happy with what's happening. If they want to get in place something behind the scenes, a manager ready in case it keeps on going wrong, which it is doing, it's spiralling out of control right now this season. Yes, a few results can turn it around, but realistically, you need, as a ownership of a football club, to have a plan B. So forget that behind his back and the disrespect. It's a lot of crap. You're managing Manchester United, and obviously you cannot expect to be performing the way that the team is performing. You cannot expect to get away with results like this if you're a United manager. Ten Hag is trying his best to convince people that it's all right to play this way, and the results are going to be carrying on this way, and that's fine, and we are progressing. No one's falling for that. And I think right now, Ineos coming in is probably the best thing that's happened to Manchester United, because they've looked at it right. They've looked at it in a way where they've balanced it out. They've made sure that both sides are heard. They've looked at the positive. They've looked at the negatives. Why are Ineos not sacking Ten Hag right now? It does look like it's coming down to the money side of things. But to carry on into the talks on what's actually happened with possible replacements before we get into that, the next one that comes up is Manchester United have spoke to Xavi 10 days ago after the four-man delegation led by Omar Berrada flew out to Barcelona. Now, we know that this has happened. We've done a video on this already talking about what happened with the supposed communication between Manchester United representatives and Xavi when they were in Barcelona. A lot of the talk that came from that, and this is just recirculated news around what's happening right now and people putting things together again. Manchester United were out in Barcelona in September anyway to have their monthly meeting of directors. Obviously, co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe was there with the America's Cup sailing team, and as he is the main man and the co-owner on top of the tree, he wanted the meeting there in Barcelona. So I think a few of the reports have been put together, and obviously people have said that United and Omar Berrada, the CEO, were in Barcelona, and obviously Xavi is there in Barcelona. 2 and 2 together made a story, but we're hearing that there has been communication, and that is just in checking how Xavi's situation is and whether he would be open to the idea, if the right deal could be struck, of coming into Manchester United and taking over the reins from Ten Hag. That's the Xavi side of things. Thomas Frank is once again a strong contender for the Manchester United job, Chris Wheeler has said. Now, we've talked about Thomas Frank. He came up last week simply because Manchester United were playing Brentford in the Premier League after the international break. The international break was when Manchester United were thought to be getting rid of Ten Hag, and the meeting that happened within that break didn't come to anything, and Ten Hag is still in a job. So that international break, the pressure and everything that was going on Ten Hag then coincided with the first game back after the break being Brentford, the Brentford manager being Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank obviously was on Manchester United's list in the summer according to reports, and that story came back again. So again, I think Thomas Frank is a bit of recirculation on what's actually been going on before, but Manchester United, whenever we do bad or whenever bad results actually come in, I think you can expect these sort of headlines to start circulating and going around all of social media and mainstream media again. Two of the other names which we also know about, again, talk that we've actually had and other videos we've talked about. Ruben Amorim and Edin Terzic are on Manchester United's list. Chris Wheeler has said, we know about this. We know about Terzic. He is out of a job, obviously, after leaving Borussia Dortmund last summer. Obviously, he led them to a Champions League final, miraculously going on that run. He was a man that got the best out of Jadon Sancho last season as well. He has qualities. He's young. He's available. Is he big enough for Manchester United? That was the whole conversation at the time, and that will continue. And I think that sort of conversation is going to be where we're going down. We're not going to find the perfect fit manager. There's going to be someone there that is the next up-and-coming manager that we need to find. When you're looking for the best and you say that Manchester United need to get a manager that has got the qualities of handling a big club, has got masses of experience, is the best that you can go and get. Well, one of them is at Manchester City and one of them is at Real Madrid. And sadly, right now, we are not competing with any of them two. So why would them two managers leave? That being Carlo Ancelotti at Madrid, obviously, and Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. So we are not going to get the best that there is. The next step down was probably people who've won massive trophies and have managed at big clubs before, that being Thomas Tuchel. He is now with England. So when it comes down to the conversation of who is the right fit for Manchester United, why Manchester United are going for this manager, we haven't heard of him, he hasn't been proving on the big stage. That's going to be every single manager that comes in and replaces Ten Hag's situation. There's no other way you can look at it. We need someone that is the next best thing. We need to do some recruiting behind the scenes. So if Ineos are taking their time and are happy to write off this season the longer it goes on with Ten Hag, then some will say that they're doing right in making sure it's the right fit. Really, all you need to look at is a 1 or 2 week period of recruitment, looking into the manager's past, looking into his characteristics, looking into what he's done before, where he's come from, did he manage at youth level, all of that goes into it. What he's won, how certain situations have panned out before with certain players, has he managed big ego players? Do all of your research, do what you've got to do. It only takes a week or two. I'm not having anything about it needs this pull-on bloody structure and report being done. just to make sure that we get some candidates on the table. United need to act fast if they want to salvage this season. I feel like Ineos and the way things are going financially at Manchester United right now, because of the poor start to the season, are going to move quite quickly on this if results don't pick up. And I'm talking like if. I think it's going to be happening quite soon if Manchester United continue in the vein of form that they're in. Amorim is the other name that Chris Wheeler has just mentioned. Well, we know, unfortunately for us, I think he is earmarked for Manchester City. I would love Amorim at Manchester United as a fan. I think a lot of the United fan base are in the same boat with that. But Amorim is earmarked with Begiristain leaving Manchester City, Pep Guardiola not committing to his future. Obviously, you've got Viana, who is the sporting director at Sporting at the moment. Double Sporting there, don't want to confuse everybody. He has left. He is going to be taking the reins of Begiristein's job at Manchester City this summer after the Club World Cup. So he has gone, and he is the man that works alongside Amorim right now. So I think the reports are putting everything together, and Amorim is probably going to end up at Manchester City with his attacking style and nice on the eye type of football. We would love that at Manchester United. We would. So there is 4 candidates. They're the main 4 players in the picture right now in Xabi, Thomas Frank, Ruben Amorim, and obviously Edin Terzic, former Borussia Dortmund manager. When you look at all of them, I think all of them are probably right for United in a certain way. Are they all perfect for the club? No. Like I just said, though, is anyone going to be perfect for Manchester United right now? And the answer to that is no. To add on top of them reports on what's actually happening now with Ineos and Manchester United behind the scenes, it is thought, and this was Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic talking to TalkSport on this one, all along Ineos have not wanted to sack Ten Hag. The Dutchman feels backed by the hierarchy. He's going to say that because they're not going to tell him right now. There is another report coming out as well today from Dean Jones Soccer on X. The reality at United is that the hierarchy want Ten Hag to succeed. Again, going into the line of what Laurie Whitwell said on The Athletic, they are keen to avoid disruption and financial burden of making a mid-season managerial change. Financial burden starts to creep in even more so as the season goes along now. And this is why I think a lot of Manchester United fans now are just accepting that Ten Hag is going to be gone and he's leaving Manchester United. There is absolutely no way that he can survive, even if he gets through this next group of games. There's not a chance that he will, because that financial burden that Ineos are talking about, and that burden of having to pay what is reportedly 15 million to Ten Hag to relieve him of his duties. That's his contractual compensation, or whatever it may be, however you want to say it. That's what United are going to have to fork out to get rid of Ten Hag. That situation is hampering the decision, apparently. But the longer this season goes on, you look at what Manchester United might save if they sack Ten Hag in the summer. So leave him in situ, and leave him there talking and doing his job and underperforming for Manchester United. Let's see how this season pans out, for instance, and you half that of what you've got to pay Ten Hag. So you're probably going to have to pay him 7 or 8 million in the summer rather than 15 million now. Are Ineos really going to skimp and scrape around about 7 million? Because he's going in the summer. There's no way that Ten Hag is staying. You wouldn't be looking at all these other managers if you didn't think he was going either way. So are you going to save 7 million really in the summer and not get rid of him now, when you could lose 10 million off Adidas on that sponsorship deal? You could lose millions off finishing lower down in the Premier League. You might not have the gate receipts next season of the European games because you've not qualified for Europe. You haven't got the Champions League money, which they were probably banking on in being the great Manchester United and us getting back up there. Let's not forget, the CEO of Manchester United, Omar Barada, has already come out and said that we're looking to win the league in 2028. If you haven't got the finances to improve this team, and yes, we have got a great academy coming through right now, which I have talked about many a times on the show, but that isn't going to be good enough, or is going to be enough, in fact, to actually get United competing with the likes of City, Liverpool and Arsenal right now, or even competing in the Champions League. We've got to qualify for the Champions League first, never mind compete for it. We've got to qualify for the Champions League and finishing in the top 4. And that top 4 is the next step for Manchester United to start building on top of, to actually start thinking, never mind going for it, but thinking of winning and challenging for the Premier League. It is ridiculous how anybody can see how Manchester United right now are ready under Ten Hag to compete at the levels that Ineos want Manchester United to be at. And this is everything that has been reported. I'm going to come to the comment section now and get your thoughts on everything that's been said. I can see some people agreeing already. I can see some people disagreeing with me already. I just so you know, you are not going to convince me of this being disrespectful to Ten Hag. I'm sorry, this is Manchester United. I just want to say that now before I come into the chat. So if I don't answer questions on that, it's just my opinion on this. And I just feel like it's normal football. The fact that United right now are doing bad is why reports are coming out, being leaked out about what's happening behind the scenes with United and Ten Hag and what Ineos are doing in trying to find another manager. It's what happens inside. It is like it says in the thumbnail. It's an inside job. Let them go and do their thing. They need to be ready to pull the trigger. They need to be ready to make a big decision. Look, if they want to leave Ten Hag in situ and we carry on hoping that we can improve, and we'll go into what Ten Hag thinks he's going to improve that after we go through these the comment section now. But still, you have to be honest with yourself and say, look, is it worth the money that it's going to cost them right now for what they're going to save if they do it in the summer and what they might lose in sponsorships? There is a chance to salvage this season, and that's the big decision. Do you make it now thinking that another manager can do better than Ten Hag, or do you honestly feel like Ten Hag can turn this around after what you have seen and the records that he has broken over the last 15 months of managing this football club? That's what you have to break it down and think about, I say. It's just a mess. I think we have gotten to the point where we can see this isn't player power or individual players. The system and the tactics just don't work. That's from Big Bad Phil. I seen a comment that you said earlier on. You're going to support everybody. Phil says that he's in there in the manager hot seat at Manchester United, but it just clearly is not going to work for Ten Hag. It's not. Sorry, Adam. Zidane is proven on the big stage and is available. Whether he wants to come here is a different matter. I think that, you know what, Gina, I do believe that Manchester United would have approached Zidane. We know that he's good friends with the sporting operations officer for Ineos, Jean-Claude Blanc, who is on the board at Manchester United as well. So if there is a possibility of getting Zidane, I'm sure that question would have been asked. I think more reports of Zidane will probably come out over the coming days when more of this talk circulates. I think United will look at absolutely everyone that's available right now. They have to be doing. Like I just said, we are Man United. And yeah, we could sort of laugh that off right now and say that we are far from being Man United. We're living in the past. Let's not forget that the overheads, the financial side of things, everything that's involved, and the people that have put their businesses and their money into Manchester United, they're all looking at this and going, when are you going to make a decision? Like, I don't want my brand just being shown up in the Premier League alone and the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. That's not where we want to be. We want to be in the Champions League. We want to be part of these UEFA tournaments. We want to be in the Club World Cup that FIFA are running. Manchester United are nowhere near any of the biggest competitions at all at the moment. So, realistically, there is a lot more involved in Manchester United than just the players, the fans, and what's happening on the pitch, and us having to accept that we're going through a bad spell, and it's all about cycles. Cycles are an excuse for teams not performing. There's no reason why Manchester United should spend 10 years out in the wilderness with what's been pumped into this club. It's just been mismanaged. I'm sorry. It is a lame excuse that football goes in cycles for me. It is crap. If you run and recruit your team and your club properly, then you shouldn't have these issues. Let's get into some more. Adam, is Champions League money not a start and step in the right direction? No. As in Champions League money, if we qualify for the Champions League and the step and a start in the right direction? Yeah, it is, Gray. It is. We need to be in the Champions League. We need to be financing what we want to do. There are big plans in place here for Manchester United. And it does look like the club is going to have to fund any sort of regeneration of Old Trafford or a new stadium or anything like that themselves. So, yeah, you've got to look at everything that's in play here right now is massive for the future. Absolutely everything is in play. I miss Champions League nights, says Kaz. I miss it as well. Andrew says, Adam, realistically, you have to be in the Champions League nowadays to be a top club. It's true. Just running down domestic trophies is not enough to remain a top club. That is very, very true. Well said, Andrew. I agree with that one. If we qualify for the Champions League, yes, we will get some money, but it's likely we will lose all 8 games and finish bottom of the group. I don't think we would. I'm saying this in hope that we've actually got another manager, MA, to be honest, because if Ten Hag stays, we're not making Champions League football. I'm going to say that right now. And I'll put my neck completely on the line and say that. You can clip me up all you want. If Ten Hag stays, you are accepting no more Champions League football for Manchester United. There's your clip right there. Come at me in the comment section with your hate. I don't care. I know what I'm watching. I know what this football is under this manager. And it is nowhere near good enough to even qualify for the Champions League, let alone compete in the bleeding Champions League. So yes, let's just be more realistic about it, shall we, everybody? Did it stick Ten Hag on gardening leave or give Rude the opportunity for the rest of the season? Gardening leave. God, remember them days in the summer. That was like the trending word with United, wasn't it? Just leaving people out in the wilderness and letting them just go and do the gardens for a bit. I want City to be held accountable. I doubt they will, but if they are and Liverpool finish first as a result, so be it. That's great. Oh, that's actually someone else having a conversation with someone else in there. Sorry if I'm butting in on anyone's live chat. I don't think we should even be worrying about Manchester City right now. We've got enough problems on our own plate. Let's just concentrate on the matter at hand with Manchester United right now. If we get tiki-taki Xavi, I will not renew my season tickets. I will not go to any matches for sleeping. Look how much better Barca are with Hansi Flick. To be honest, look how much better they are, story. I'm not being funny, but did Xavi not win La Liga and the Spanish Super Cup in his first season? Did he not score 170 goals in 2 seasons? And you're talking about sleeping now with Xavi in charge. I think we need to look closer to home here in terms of sleeping. Xavi right now, please. I would take that brand of football in a heartbeat. It isn't the ticky-tacky that everybody is going on about either. It's a bit different. I was there and I've watched Barcelona play up close with Xavi when we went to Barcelona a couple of seasons ago, and obviously the home game as well. They were an aging team, but they have got young quality players coming through. I don't think Xavi is the full-on ticky-tacky type of manager. I think he understands, and I think a lot of the modern-day managers are actually adapting their game now and mixing it up with different styles of play. So, yeah, I just feel like we are... I feel like we are being a little bit picky, and we need to look closer to home when it comes to managers right now, because what we have got is probably the worst type of football and brand of football that there is out there in Europe at the moment. I was watching Leicester against Nottingham Forest last night. The football there is better than what Man United are producing. And that's shocking for us to say. Like, Leicester look crap, I'm not going to lie. Like, they look vulnerable. And when we played them a couple of times now in the next few weeks, I expect United to win both games. But they've got players that will hurt United. We can't forget that. But Nottingham Forest are a point away from Arsenal right now in third. And that's with... And you telling me that this season can't be turned around, by the way. That's with Nuno, the man that was kicked out by Spurs for playing a so-called certain brand of football. Look, certain managers will come in and change players' attitudes and play and change the way that these players are playing. That's what will happen with another manager coming in at Manchester United. So when I say that we can make the Champions League, we can make the Champions League with another manager, not with Ten Hag. Get rid of him now, bring someone else in, and United will get back up there. Nottingham Forest to the point proven so far this season. They're putting a run of games together. What's that, 9 games, and they've only lost 1 game, Nottingham Forest. That's the type of form I expected United to be in. And it's not much to ask, give it. If Forest can do it, why can't United do it? That would have been acceptable at this stage for me, for United. The way that Forest are and where they are in the league. 5th in the league. Doing well, 1 point away from third place, 1 defeat. Yeah, they've had a few draws, they've had a few wins, that's fine, you could say that. But if you've had 4 draws and 4 wins, and you've only lost 1 game, and you're up there in the top 6 at this stage of the season, then it's respectable. And I think that's where United should be. Like, we're not expecting us to be challenging right at the top, but just like... actually have some standards of where you're actually at. Speaking of standards, I want to move on. I will come back to more chat before we finish. Ten Hag has also been talking again. He was talking ahead. So he was in Turkey. He did his post-match press conference after the game, which was a load of crap. And I have pulled up myself already. And then he was talking again in the same press conference about the Spurs game. So they do both press conferences in one go because of turnaround time for Manchester United getting back from Turkey to getting back and doing another press conference in England is too much. So Ten Hag sat in Fenerbahce and did his pre-match Spurs press conference. And oh my God, this is where the fan base has gone mental online, I feel. And this is what is happening right now. Ten Hag actually saying, and the ridiculous comment that came out of his mouth in terms of where Manchester United are, the league form, that the questions were asked to him. And he was talking about the Spurs game in particular. And talking about the Spurs game about him ignoring it. And it doesn't count. I ignored that game. Manchester United, we had a one-man deficit, I think he said, or something like that, i.e. Bruno was sent off. We were 1-0 down, Bruno was sent off. That red card has been rescinded, so that means in Ten Hag's eyes that you can forget about that game. We're not talking about it because that red card was unfair and the game might have been different. So forget that game. That doesn't. Let's just turn off, reset, and go again. Turn off, reboot. That's what Ten Hag thinks. He wants you to forget about the poor performances. That is unacceptable behaviour as a Manchester United manager. I'm sorry. If Ineos watch that press conference and they see their manager say on national TV that we are just crossing that game off against Spurs, we don't count it. We don't count a 3-0 defeat at home to Spurs. That's off because Bruno's red card was rescinded 2 days later. Oh my God. Like, if you are looking at Ten Hag and trying to find reasons to keep him, this alone should tell you and should be tapping on your head and saying, you may be backing up the wrong tree here. This manager is not right for us. Seriously, get a grip, Eric. You cannot cancel off one game. Let's forget about how much Spurs were absolutely battering us in that game before Bruno got sent off. And I found it absolutely staggering. I was blown away. And like I said yesterday, I didn't want anything to do with him. I didn't want to go on about Ten Hag. I'm sick of talking about him. I'd said my piece. I'd done it. I wanted to do a different piece of content last night on Ahmad. It was Ten Hag involved, and there was a bit of a dig at Ten Hag in that. I'm going to own up and say it, but it was mainly about how Ahmad has been mistreated his whole time at Manchester United. They wanted to do something different, but dragged him back again this morning with the news and what's actually going on. Not just the managerial situation, what's going on behind the scenes with Ineos, but Ten Hag talking ahead of this game. This is a Manchester United. You're representing Manchester United. Let's just look at some of the things that he's said so far this season, in that Manchester United are progressing. We are progressing. We've had 4 clean sheets. The stats are looking good. I said in the video on Ahmad yesterday, Ten Hag was bigging up the XG and everything about a month into the season. Manchester United's player of the month for that season and created more chances than anybody else. It was Amad Diallo. Yes, I thank you. And Erik Ten Hag, you should thank Amad Diallo as well, because he was backing up your agenda and your own sort of process plan and bounce back ability of Manchester United actually moving forward. And then you drop him inexplicably. So yeah, that was that video. Go and watch that later on, everybody, when we're finished here on the live. But Ten Hag, go back to FC20. I dream about being the chairman of FC20. You're the Man United manager, mate. You're at the pinnacle of world football. And you're talking about being a chairman of FC20? Get a grip. Seriously. He then invites the Dutch media into Carrington to film a training session of how well it's going and big himself up over there in Holland. He then allows the Dutch media and demands that the Dutch media get all of their questions in 3/4 of a press conference ahead of that game before the British media. Yeah, you can have your opinions on the British media and how they grill Ten Hag, and he might not like them, and not many people do. That's because they're answering. That's because they're asking serious questions. But he lets them get 2 or 3 questions each, which all need to be translated, because Ten Hag knows that there's a time scale on that press conference and the time is going to run out for the British media questions, and the club will be forced to call the press conference. He did that. Can you imagine Real Madrid having someone walk into one of their press conferences and allowing the opposition's media from that country to actually get all the questions in first? No way you are. Seriously, you are taking the mick. And then, the creme de la creme. Ten Hag, in this pre-match press conference yesterday, goes on, yes, here it comes, injuries. Injuries are the reason Manchester United now have had a poor start to the season. So he's contradicted himself already. He says we are making progress, and you can see that we are moving forward, and everyone can see what style of play we're playing. Those are the words that have come out of out of my mouth, out of Ten Hag's mouth. And now he's saying that injuries are the reason for Manchester United's poor start to the season. It's clear that with everybody fit in this squad, we are going to be successful. When everybody's available, we are a good team. You've seen that so far this season, he says. It's there. You don't have to... I'm not elaborating it. It's there on videos. The press conference is there. He has blamed injuries for the start of the season. So, let's do a little bit of digging, shall we? Let's actually have a look. And you know what? I'm not going to bring in the results that Manchester United have done well in. I've just brought up a few different results, and I've looked at the teams that Manchester United had out. And Manchester United's season and the poor start is because of injuries. This is the manager. This is your manager, Erik Ten Hag, by the way. So let's go back, say, Brighton away from home. Manchester United starting lineup against Brighton. Anana Mazraoui, Harry Maguire, Lisandro Martinez, Diogo Dalot. We had Mason Mount in midfield with Marcus Rashford, Amad Diallo, Casemiro, Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes. You even go to the bench of that game and you've got the likes of Matthijs de Ligt, Johnny Evans, Christian Eriksen, Scott McTominay, Collier, Xerxes, Garnacho and Antony. But injuries are stopping Manchester United from doing well. Liverpool at home. Bad day for United. Injuries are really causing United a lot of problems this season, and that's why we have had a bad start to the season. In that game, we had Anana in goal, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Martinez, Dalot. We had Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, Casemiro, Kobbie Mainoo, Joshua Xerxes. The bench, though, you don't have squad depth. You have to have squad depth, Ten Hag says, and injuries have caused this problem. On the bench that day, we had Maguire, Johnny Evans, Christian Eriksen, Toby Collier, Amad Diallo, Antony and Wheatley. Do I need to go on? I think I will go on because I need to make this point because Ten Hag is talking about these games actually really affecting Manchester United's season. Going into the Spurs game, I'll probably draw a line at this one. You know where I'm going with this. The Spurs game, Anana, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Martinez, Dalot, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, Manuel Ugarte, Kobbie Mainoo and Joshua Xerxes. The bench that day, and this is the game that Ten Hag wants to ignore and forget. The bench that day is Victor Lindelof, Johnny Evans, Mason Mount, Christian Eriksen, Casemiro, Rasmus Højlund, Amad Diallo and Antony. Shut your mouth, Erik Ten Hag. Seriously, you cannot bluff or blag the fans any more than what you are already. You are the reason we are talking in this video in this way right now, and you are the reason that I am talking about you when I didn't even want to. Stop trying to pull the wool over the fans' eyes. No one's falling for this crap. You are a bluffer and you are making excuses beyond the poor excuses that you have made before. It's an absolute joke. Seriously. Injuries are the reason Manchester United are underperforming this season. You can go into the European games that we've underperformed in as well and look at the squads. They're pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. This is a man that's playing Rasmus Højlund up front and resting him. So he's resting him against Fenerbahce when he's got someone younger in Garnacho playing with a knee brace on continuously game after game after game. Let that sink in as well. Like everyone says that Rasmus needs resting, we can't afford to lose him. We can't afford to lose Garnacho, and he's playing him week in, week out. While, yes, he's got Amad sat on the bench doing jack shit. Oh yeah, but we've got Antony ahead of him because he trains well. Oh yes, indeed. Actually, you got to laugh, haven't you? You have to. Into the chat we go. I've said a lot there, haven't I? So I will get some comments in right now. Brett Curtis says, great channel, Adam, love the content, pal. Do you think a higher caliber manager would achieve more with this team? Or do you think it's a player issue mainly? I think Erik Ten Hag, but I think time's up. Nope. Yep. I don't believe that there is a player. I think these players are playing for Ten Hag. I really do feel like the players are giving everything for him. I just think there's misdirection. It just looks confusing in that team right now. And everyone's playing with fear. Yet you should always have that fear factor at United in a good way. That being, if you underperform, you're out the side. But these players are playing in fear. Like, they don't know what's coming next. And that's the problem that we've got. You've got the likes of Joshua Zirkzee, Rasmus Højlund, Ahmad, people who come in, Manuel Ugarte, that haven't played much. And you know, and they know in their head that they're not going to play the next week no matter what happens on that pitch. I am still convinced that he put Mazraoui in at number 10 because he didn't want to have this selection issue with Bruno Fernandes this weekend against West Ham, and he can just bring him straight in. That's why he's done it. I'm telling you right now. A great super chat from You Got Ross. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. My American football team is missing their star running back, NT, multiple receivers, and countless other players are not making excuses. Every team has injuries, every single team. Not up, Eric. Yeah, you cannot expect to go a season without injuries. And if you think that the injuries that we have got out right now are enough to make an excuse for the crap that we have watched so far this season, then you, my friends, are ultimately deluded yourselves and been convinced by Ten Hag. I'm sorry, you're not deluded. Ten Hag is deluded, but you're convinced by his delusional comments, is probably the way I should say that. But don't be convinced. The lies and the crap that are coming out of this football club right now, in particular the manager, the fans are not falling for it. Deal with it, Eric. Let us talk about a performance against West Ham this weekend. Let us talk about what you have achieved on the pitch, rather than the absolute crap that's coming out of your mouth. Actions speak louder than words, and we will see if Erik Ten Hag has got anything in him when we play West Ham this weekend. I was speaking on a West Ham channel last night, actually, and he was asking me, like, who in Manchester United's team should West Ham look out for right now? You can see, I obviously said the likes of Garnacho. Do you know what? I actually said Marcus Rashford, because I feel like he is on the quiet, coming back into a little bit of form right now, and it's encouraging to see. So, yeah, I said Garnacho and Marcus Rashford. Some people would be surprised at that, I know. But so that's just what I see. So, yeah, I feel like we are running out of players that are really going to or have an effect for Manchester United right now. I am running out of positives. And I can't blame the players anymore. Like, look, when you've got someone like Ahmad who has done everything he possibly can, he's sat out patiently. He's waited for his chance. He's performed better than any other forward in the first month and a half of the season. And then he's dumped because Ten Hag desperately trying to keep hold of his job. And he goes back to the wall and busses it out against bleeding Aston Villa. And then never plays him again, because that was the positive result that got him through the international break. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace how Manchester United are running this way. It is. I can't wait for things to change so fans can stop arguing with each other. Never known it this bad. Yep, I can see all sorts of comments and arguments, some abusive ones, and it's not right, people. Look, we're just stating what's actually happened. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, look, the facts are there. Look, I am not being convinced by Ten Hag and his bullshit. It's as simple as that. You can say I'm being harsh. You can say I'm putting it across in a harsh way. That's fine. I understand that. I'm just angry. I'm an angry Man United fan. But don't come back at me and say I'm wrong when you can see clearly there. I've just talked out every single game that United have lost or done bad in, and the team and squad that we had for that day. And Ten Hag is saying in his press conferences that we will be better. This team will succeed when everybody's fit. What are them players that are in them squads that are fighting for him right now thinking when he's saying that? They're looking around that dressing room and they're saying, who's missing? Is he saying that I'm not good enough now? Because when everyone's fit, we're going to be all right. So you're saying that Luke Shaw, Tyrell Malacia, Mason Mount, these players are the difference. Let's not even go there, shall we, with Bruno Fernandes. All of the defeats this season that Manchester United have had Kobbie Mainoo in the team, by the way. So let's not even go there with Kobbie missing right now, shall we? Bruno's not injured. He's suspended because he was trying to do too much in a position or a system that Ten Hag allows him to go free rein and go absolutely mental on the pitch in. I'm not blaming Ten Hag for Bruno's red card. That's down to the professional himself and knowing where he is. But still, like, Bruno is overdoing it, and that's because of Ten Hag's tactics. Rein him in. Do some management. Even if the team go on a 5-game winning streak, I don't trust Ten Hag anymore, and he needs to leave. He lies about everything. He does. He's a massive contradiction. Gehan says, Adam, is there any truth in Rashford wanting a move away from United? I've seen that story pop up the other day. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think it's false. I do. I mean, if you look at him in his career right now, I think even he would understand, and the people behind him would say, look, there's a new manager coming in. Let's just see what happens. There may be a completely different style of football about to come into Manchester United. I wouldn't be going anywhere if I was a United player right now or wanting away, because I think every one of their players' agents will know the situation that's happening and would know exactly how long Ten Hag has got left as Manchester United manager. It isn't much time. Let's just say it that way. If he carries on talking like this, I'd be embarrassed if I was Ineos right now. I would be absolutely embarrassed if I was the owner of this football club and that man was the voice of Manchester United. Because you are, as a Man United man. You are as manager of any club. You are the voice. You are the only one that speaks to the press. You very rarely get anything from any of the hierarchy. The odd interview maybe here and there, but he is representing Manchester United and he's coming out with complete and utter bollocks. It's not on, and we're not falling for it, Eric. It is as simple as that. And if you are, then all power to you. Seriously, like, you are seeing things that I am not. But I look at what Ten Hag has said and I back it up with what I've said. And I've backed it up with the facts. I've backed it up with the stats. It doesn't work out whichever way. If you don't like me, you don't like me. It's fine. Have a go at me. But I'm just telling you what's happening. I'm just throwing the stats and the facts in to back it up as well. So try and disagree with them if you can. But just remember, this manager is convincing you that where we are right now is okay. Where we finished last season is okay. And he needs more time. We need more players. We need more players available all of the time. If the manager stays, you're going to lose some of these players because they know that he is not going to play him. If Ten Hag somehow stays, we will lose Ahmad. He's not going to play him. He's an absolute joke. Anthony was going to make a difference in that game. Anthony was created what? Against a player that's been sat on his ass in previous games. And let's not forget, Anthony's got on ahead of Ahmad in the last 3 games as well off the bench. And Ten Hag still comes out with this spiel and bollocks about Anthony performing better in training. I thought he could have done something in that game more. Ahmad came on the pitch and created a great opportunity for United instantly. The Fenerbahce staff were absolutely buzzing. We've seen them reports coming out about Ahmad going on, not getting on the pitch as well. They understand what a good player is. Our manager doesn't. Simple as that. That is the end of the show, everybody. Thank you so much. Super chats, all of your comments in. Please do remember, get your comments in below. I will reply to as many as possible. If you want to have a go, just have a go. Be respectful when you're doing it. That's all I'll say about that one. Thank you, everybody. I'll be back later on this evening with the evening show live as well. So make sure you're tuned in for then. Give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe with the notification button on to make sure that you don't, that you miss no content. I say it right that time. Cheers, everyone. See you later.